Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today we're tackling something huge, something every single one of us has to face: fear. And not just facing it, but actually conquering it. So let me ask you straight up. What are you afraid of? I mean, really think about it, because whether we like to talk about it or not, fear is just, well, it's part of being human, right? It shows up in a million different ways, sometimes in disguise, and absolutely nobody gets a free pass. And if you need any proof of just how big a deal this is, get this. A top psychiatrist once said that if we could just snap our fingers and get rid of fear, well, the entire job of a psychotherapist would basically vanish. That's how fundamental fear is to the problems we all face. Okay, so the point of this isn't to become totally fearless. I mean, that's not even possible. And honestly, it would be a pretty terrible idea. The real game is learning how to manage it, how to put it in its place. It all comes down to a choice. Is fear going to be your servant, or is it going to be your master? You know, at its most basic level, fear is just our built-in alarm system. It's a survival instinct, right? It's been hardwired into us for thousands of years to keep us safe. It's that little voice that stops you from walking into traffic or tells you to go see a doctor. So yeah, in that sense, a little bit of fear is not just good, it's absolutely necessary. So you've really got to see that fear has two totally different sides. On one side, you have what we could call wholesome fear. That's the good stuff, the fear that protects you, the fear that pushes you to study for a test. But then you flip it over and you get destructive fear. And that's the stuff that just sucks the life out of you, boxes you in, and stops you dead in your tracks. And this leads to what is probably the perfect way to think about it all. Fear is like fire. Seriously. Keep it under control, and it's an amazing servant. It can cook your food, warm your house, but if you let it get out of control, it becomes a terrifying master that will burn everything down. So, what happens when the fire gets out of control? When fear becomes the master? Well, that's when you find yourself trapped in what this analysis calls the prison of fear. Yeah, when fear runs wild, it's not just a feeling, it's a full-on downward spiral. First, it just takes the heart right out of you, drains your battery. Then it starts to build walls around you, making your world smaller. From there, it twists how you see everything. You start seeing threats everywhere. And the final stop, it just freezes you. You're literally, like the saying goes, scared stiff. And the absolute worst part of this prison, the deepest, darkest cell, is something called phobophobia. And get this, it's the fear of being afraid. I mean, can you imagine a more perfect trap? You're caught in this insane loop where the anxiety just keeps feeding itself over and over again. Okay, that's the problem. That's the prison. So how do we break out? Well, thankfully, the source material gives us a blueprint, a set of keys, really. 3 key conditions for building a life that isn't ruled by fear. And here they are, the 3 keys. Number 1, living an upright life. Number 2, building up your inner resources. And number 3, practicing goodwill. So let's break these down, one by one. All right, key number 1, an upright life. This might sound a little old-fashioned, but the idea is actually super simple and powerful. It's about having a clear conscience. Think about it. When you live honestly, when you're not hiding things or looking over your shoulder, there's just so much less to be afraid of, right? You're not constantly worried about getting caught. And this is not some new idea, by the way. This is ancient wisdom. I mean, look at the story from the Garden of Eden. What's the very first thing Adam says after he does the one thing he was told not to do? I was afraid. That link between doing wrong, feeling guilty, and then feeling afraid, it's been with us since the dawn of human stories. Okay, on to key number 2, inner resources. This one is all about what you've got going on inside. It's about building up your mental and, spiritual fortitude so you can handle whatever life throws at you. It's kind of like you've got to make sure your tent stakes are firm before the storm rolls in. And this is where we see this really powerful contrast. Fear is like this little hypnotist on your shoulder just whispering, you can't do it, you're going to fail. And the crazy thing is, if you believe it, you make it true. But faith, and that can just mean a deep-seated belief in yourself, is the complete opposite. It's a creative power that says you can. And guess what? That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy too. And again, this isn't just wishful thinking. This quote comes directly from a leading physician and psychiatrist, someone speaking from years of scientific experience. The only known cure for fear is faith. That's a huge statement. connecting psychological understanding with the raw power of belief. And that brings us to our third and final key, goodwill. This one is all about how we deal with other people. It's about putting active kindness and, well, love out into the world to fight off all those fears that pop up in our relationships. Just stop and think about it for a second. What are things like jealousy, envy, bitterness, that constant nagging worry about what people think of you? At the end of the day, they're all just fear in a different outfit. It's fear of not measuring up, fear of being left out, fear of not being good enough. So what's the antidote? The source points to this really powerful phrase, perfect love casteth out fear. What that means is when you are actively, genuinely putting goodwill and care out towards other people, you basically starve those social fears. They have nothing to grow on. And what's really cool is you can take this idea and scale it all the way up to the global stage. We tend to think that wars are caused by hate, but this analysis argues the real root cause is fear. And what's our usual solution? Build bigger weapons, which, of course, just makes everyone more afraid. The real path to security for a country or for a person isn't more weapons, it's organized goodwill. So let's put it all together. You take these three keys, a clean life, a great faith, and what's called undiscourageable goodwill, and what do you get? The recipe for a fearless soul. And again, that doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you've built a life that's stronger than your fear. You've learned to surmount it. But look, this isn't a magic pill. You don't just do it once and you're done. I love how Emerson put it, you haven't really learned the lesson of life if you don't, every day, surmount a fear. It's a daily workout, a constant practice of facing those little and big things that scare you. And that really brings this whole thing right back to you, right here, right now. After hearing all of this, the question is simple. What fear are you going to conquer today? It doesn't have to be big, just pick one and start there.